Hi everyone, I'm going to give you a tutorial now of my new add-on Magic Slides Appender. Now this is very similar to Doc Appender, which is by New Vision Public Schools, but instead of using a Google Doc, it will use a Google Slideshow. So what this is all for is to be able to fill in the form to give feedback to students on their particular slides. So the way you set this up is in Classroom, I've got an example assignment and there's a presentation attached. So if I go and show you this, you make a copy for each student. So each student has their own Google Slides, and the whole idea is you'll be able to fill in a form and it will populate to their Google Slideshow. So I need to assign this to all students, make a copy on Classroom. That's the first step, that I've got my Google Slide ready to be used. The next thing I need to do is I need to set up my Google form, and this is where the add-on will run from. The first question always needs to be pupil name, or it can be pupil like file name. But what it must also be is a drop-down question. Okay, so that's just part of the way the code works. It looks for a drop-down question. And what's going to happen is this is going to be populated by Magic Slides Appender with all of the pupils that are in this assignment. Now, this classroom only has 2 pupils, so it will find the 2 pupils and pop them in. So we've got a question, and then what we can have is as many other questions as we like to provide feedback. So this could be about anything. You can rate the work, and we could have a linear scale, 1 to 5, 1 being poor, and then 5 being excellent, something like that. It doesn't matter. You can decide what these are, and I'm going to make it required, but I don't have to do that. But it would work either way. And then I could have like comment, and I would just have a short paragraph comment. I'll make that required too. And that's my form. I could have more options, but I'll keep it really simple for now and just go for those 2. So now what we need to do is we need to link this form to the Google Classroom. So you're going to need to have a different form for each class. It is possible to just change the setup, but it's better to do it separately. So what we'll do is we'll go to Magic Slides Appender and we'll set it up. So the first thing it'll do, it'll ask you for which class you linking this to. We're going to link it to 8W, and it'll say which assignment do you want to link it to, and we'll link it to the one we've just posted. And then it'll find all the drop-down questions you've got in your form. Now I've only got one, so it should list pupil name, and that's there. And then when you want to give feedback, you select which of the options you want to include on the slide. So I'm going to keep it all 3. And then you've got multiple options, and I'll go through the different options of how they look. So we'll start with just a clean text. We'll scan and set up, and it will link this form with that assignment. You can see it's already put in the two people's names, and it's successfully linked. Now we can actually close that. We don't need that anymore. But what we'll need to do is publish this form. So I can just publish the form, and then I can copy the URL, and I can open up the form separately. Now, once I've got the form open, I can then choose which pupil I'm going to give feedback to. Pupil number 2 has poor work, but not very good, and I'm going to submit that. And then I'm going to submit the next one, and you can see how quick this would be if you were like actually looking at work. You can do it very quickly. It's very good, and I'm going to submit that one too. So both pupils have got a response on the form. So if I now go to the assignment and we open up Pupil Magic 1, the first slide was a template slide, which I'm going to come back to in a minute, but that was already in there. But you can see Pupil Magic 1, their name is there, their presentation, their rate, and their comment is all on one slide there. And if I go across to Pupil 2 and go to slide 2, you've got the same thing there. So that's that first one done, nice and easy. Now I want to change the setup, okay? So I've decided I don't want to do that one again, so I'm going to go to setup. It will remember all of the settings that you've done on this form. So it's found all the settings, and we can go down, instead of clean text, we can do the vertical table. We're going to scan and set that up, and it'll keep everything else the same, and it'll just change that to the vertical table. Now, when I go on here again, and I can do all of them again, so test, I'll just put test 1 so we know it's different. And I won't bother with the other one. I'll just show you this one. So that was pupil 2, and you see the tables come in, and it's all there. Okay. So you see why pupil name might be a choice whether you even include that or not. You can just select that or deselect that. But that's what the table looks like, and obviously the more questions, the bigger the table will get. There would be technically a limit, what will fit on the screen, so you need to be a little bit careful there. But generally, most of what you want to do will fit. So let's. So now actually, I don't want to do a vertical table. I want to do a template. I want to do the template. Now, this template is the reason why there is this slide 1 available, because you've got to put slide 1 is your template slide, so you can add questions in using these brackets and the name of the question. So if we go to our slide, and if I go to Pupil Magic 2, and I put pupil name, and then I can put colon, and then what I would do is I would paste in there, I'm going to put that in there, but that, what it is the name of the question, which is actually pupil name with a capital N. So I go back and check pupil name capital N, and then I've got rate the work. So I'm going to go back again, and on this one, work rating equals, and then if I do the two symbols, rate the work, close them again, and then the final one was comment, and I'll do dash, and I believe it's just comment. I'll double check that before I run it. Yep, just comment like that. So that's set up for Pupil Magic 2. Now, obviously, you've got to have set this up in advance before you make a copy for each student. Otherwise, you'll have to do this individually, because Pupil Magic 1 template was whatever was set originally. So it's only going to work for Pupil Magic 2 at this moment. So what I need to do is I go to the form again and say Pupil Magic 2. This time I'll choose 2. I'll call it test 2, and I submit that. Then we go to Pupil Magic 2, and you can see it's filled in the details instead of those placeholders. It's now been filled in. So that works really well as well. If you have a sort of style you want to use, you can use that. Very customizable. And finally, the last one is the speaker notes. So I'll add it to the speaker notes, okay, of the last slide. So whatever the last slide is, it will add it to the speaker notes. So if we do this now on, let's do Pupil Magic 1, because that doesn't matter. And we'll do 3. We haven't had 3 yet, and we'll do test 3. Submit that. If we now go back to Pupil Magic 1, on whatever the last slide is, which is actually this one, we shall see it in the notes there. So you can see it's all been put in there. So those are all the 4 different options that you have to use. Okay, where I've used this most successfully is with like presentations, where so a student will complete a presentation, and I would use this system to give them feedback on their presentation, so that they get a personalized feedback to their account, to their slides, so they can read that. You can use it with other students as well, so students can complete it on somebody else. So you can give them access to the form, they can give their ratings on someone else's work, and then it populates to their Google Slides. There are lots of ways you can use this, but that's just sort of a couple of ways that's how I used Doc Appender in the past as well, and you could use it for slides. I really hope that's useful to you. It's free to use, so please do give it a try. I'd love to hear about it in the comments if you've got any good use cases or good ideas, and please do subscribe.